The movie explodes into action as a semi-truck loaded with washing machines barrels through the city at breakneck speed, pursued by two police cars. But these aren't ordinary appliances. Hidden inside is a massive cocaine shipment. Driving the truck is Mia, a daring young woman trying to pay off a deadly debt to a Chinese triad boss. Her boyfriend, Charlie, the estranged son of powerful mayoral candidate Lawrence Beaumont, navigates. Chaos erupts as criminals in the truck toss washing machines at the cops. A high-speed chase turns violent, and Officer Cortez is critically wounded. Detective Walker, once the head of the narcotics division, is now a homicide detective plagued by the sins of his past. 2 years ago, he and 4 colleagues were involved in a botched drug heist that resulted in the accidental killing of an undercover cop. Racked with guilt, Walker resigned, distanced himself from his family, and now lives with the burden of corruption and betrayal. On Christmas Eve, he stops by a small shop to buy a gift for his estranged daughter, a last desperate gesture of reconciliation. But his ex-wife refuses the offer, rejecting both the gift and the man who gave it. Charlie and Mia deliver the drugs to Sui, a triad boss, in the basement of a Chinatown nightclub. Tensions are high, especially since Mia once stole a car from Sui. But before they can finish the deal, a masked gang storms the club. A brutal shootout ensues. Sui is killed. The ambush sets off a citywide gang war. Walker and his new partner Ellie respond to the crime scene. She's eager and idealistic. He's cold and distant. At the scene, Walker reconstructs the shootout and suspects the real shooters used assault rifles, not Mia's pistol. He deduces that Charlie and Mia are pawns in a much larger conspiracy. Walker pays a visit to Lawrence Beaumont, the mayoral candidate and Charlie's father. Lawrence, ever the politician, denies Charlie's involvement, but Walker suspects otherwise. The conversation takes a dark turn. Lawrence admits he helped cover up a murder involving Walker and his old crew. He blackmails Walker into protecting Charlie, threatening to reveal their past unless Walker complies. Meanwhile, Clarice, Sui's mother and a powerful triad matriarch, arrives in town seeking vengeance. She demands answers from her brother, Ching, who subtly manipulates her by blaming Charlie for Sui's death. Walker traces the chaos back to Ching, who had been feeding intel to Vincent, Jake, and Harold, Walker's old corrupt partners. They had planned to intercept the drug shipment and pin the bloodshed on others. When Cortez got caught in the crossfire, the betrayal deepened. Walker starts suspecting his old crew were behind not just this, but also the death of the undercover cop years ago. As the noose tightens, Mia and Charlie attempt to flee using fake passports arranged by her uncle Raul, but Walker tracks them down at a nightclub. There, everything unravels. The nightclub erupts into chaos as Clarice's assassins storm the building, having been tipped off by a cowardly associate, Wes. Walker, Mia, and Charlie fight their way through in an intense, bone-crunching, blood-soaked battle. Raul sacrifices himself to save Mia. Harold and Jimmy are killed. Vincent and Jake barely escape. Mia, Charlie, and Walker manage to flee under a hail of bullets. Following the harrowing ambush at the nightclub and the death of Raul, Walker realizes that the stakes are now beyond control. Burdened by guilt and driven by the need to do what's right, perhaps for the first time in years, he finally opens up to Ellie, his young and idealistic partner. In a solemn, private exchange, he reveals the full extent of the corruption. His old partners, Vincent, Jake, and Harold, have not just strayed from the law, they've gone full rogue, working in secret with Ching, the late Sui's brother, to steal high-value drug shipments and resell them for personal profit. Walker admits that they were behind the Chinatown massacre, the truck chase, and the framing of Charlie and Mia. He confesses his own complicity in past crimes, particularly in the cover-up of an undercover officer's murder years ago, and for the first time, lets go of the facade he's carried for so long. Though shaken, Ellie believes him, recognizing the sincerity in his confession and the weight of his remorse. She understands that while Walker has been part of the rot, he's also the only one still trying to cleanse it. Realizing that Officer Cortez, the last honest man from their former unit and now a key witness, is in grave danger, Ellie races to the hospital where he's been recovering. But she arrives too late. The elevator doors open to a scene of tragedy. Cortez and his wife have been murdered, their bodies still warm, execution style. Ching, ruthless and calculated, has already struck. A fierce gunfight breaks out in the hospital corridors as Ellie confronts Ching and his guards. Fueled by fury and heartbreak, she holds her ground and fights with precision. Despite sustaining injuries and nearly being killed herself, Ellie manages to shoot Ching, wounding him enough to bring him down and finally take him into custody. His arrest is a critical breakthrough. With him alive, the truth about the conspiracy might finally come to light. Meanwhile, Walker takes Charlie and Mia to a secluded lakeside cabin, hoping it will serve as a safe haven, a place to rest, heal, and plan their next move. The setting is serene and distant from the urban chaos, offering a fragile illusion of peace. Charlie, emotionally wrecked after his father's betrayal and Rawls' death, clings to hope. Mia, though still reeling, finds a moment of calm for the first time in days. But the illusion doesn't last. In an effort to secure help, Walker places a call to Lawrence Beaumont, Charlie's father, unaware that Clarice, the vengeful triad matriarch, has already taken Lawrence hostage. She now possesses his phone. Cold, silent, and calculating, Clarice listens intently as Walker reveals the exact coordinates of the cabin, unknowingly sealing the trio's fate. With fire in her eyes and vengeance in her heart, she orders her hit squad to mobilize. The next stop, the cabin, where the final reckoning will take place. In the film's intense climax, a violent siege descends on a remote lakeside cabin where Walker, Mia, and Charlie seek refuge. Their momentary peace is shattered as Clarice's elite triad hit squad launches a full-force assault. The trio fights back with desperation, turning their modest shelter into a battleground. Amidst the chaos, Walker engages in a brutal hand-to-hand fight with Clarice's most lethal enforcer. The brawl is savage and personal, ending only when Walker, nearly overpowered, kills her with a harpoon gun, though he collapses from his injuries. Meanwhile, Charlie and Mia are captured and dragged outside, where Clarice awaits with Charlie's wounded father, Lawrence Beaumont, now her pawn. Seeking revenge for her son's death, Clarice hands Lawrence a gun and commands him to kill Mia, forcing Charlie to suffer the ultimate loss. In a final, redemptive act, Lawrence turns the gun on himself and takes his own life, stunning Clarice and momentarily halting the bloodlust. His sacrifice breaks the emotional stalemate, signaling a shift in the power dynamic. Though scarred and barely alive, Walker, Charlie, and Mia survive the siege. The physical battle ends, but the emotional wounds of betrayal, sacrifice, and redemption remain raw, setting the stage for the final confrontation and closure. In the aftermath of the brutal cabin siege, the chaos surges once more as Detective Ellie arrives and confronts the remnants of the triad with unexpected authority. Speaking fluent Cantonese, she stuns the room by revealing the hidden truth. Ching, Clarice's own brother, was the true mastermind behind Sui's death. Driven by envy and ambition, he manipulated both the triad and corrupt cops to seize power. The revelation shatters alliances and exposes the final layer of betrayal. In a shocking turn, Ching shoots Clarice, silencing her before she can react. The betrayal triggers a firefight in which Vincent kills Ching, and Charlie, in a moment of heroism, kills Jake just as he attempts to shoot Ellie, breaking the last tie to his father's legacy of corruption. With most enemies dead, Vincent escapes with the stolen drug money, but his victory is short-lived. Walker, wounded yet relentless, pursues him through dark streets and eventually corners him at a desolate train yard. There, past sins are dragged into the open as Vincent taunts Walker, daring him to confront the truth. But Walker, now clear in purpose, says nothing. He simply raises his gun and shoots Vincent dead, ending the final thread of betrayal. In that quiet, decisive moment, justice is finally served, and Walker begins the path toward true redemption. In the end, Charlie and Mia, armed with new identities, disappear into a quieter life. Walker turns himself into Ellie, finally ready to atone for everything. "You're a good cop," he tells her. "Do what you have to do." Thank you for watching. Have a great day.